All right, in today's video, we will be talking about AI tools like Manus. So there's this new kind of AI out there that's making some pretty big promises. We're not just talking about another chatbot, okay? This thing is designed to be more like a smart assistant, an intern that can actually take on big projects all by itself. But the real question is it really as good as it sounds? We're going to dive into when it's absolutely magical and when it can be, well, a total mess.
Okay, so what are we really talking about here? What makes these tools so different? Well, they've got a pretty specific name that says it all. You know how with most AI, you kind of have to hold its hand and tell it every single little thing to do? Well, these are different. They're called autonomous AI agents. And that word autonomous is key. It means they can actually think for themselves. You just give them a goal, and they figure out all the steps and get it done. The best way to think about it is like having a super smart intern, right? You don't stand over their shoulder micromanaging. You just say, hey, can you research our top competitors? And you trust them to handle it. That's the dream. And let me tell you, when it works, it really does feel like magic. And, when this stuff actually delivers, people are blown away. They usually talk about 4 big promises. First, it's truly autonomous. It thinks on its own. Second, it takes real action. It doesn't just talk, it builds things. Third, it's way more affordable than those giant AI systems. And finally, you can actually watch it work in real time, which is pretty cool.
Okay, let me give you a real-world example of this power. Check this out. One user was having all sorts of trouble with their phone bill, so they asked Manus to look into it. The AI didn't just read the bills. It found over $1,000 in mistakes and even wrote out a script for the user to read when they called customer service.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's not just about the money. Like this user said, it's about getting an AI that actually delivers real results. It goes beyond just giving you ideas and actually gets stuff done in the real world. And just to show you this wasn't some lucky one-off, here's another story. Someone needed a website for their nonprofit. They gave the AI just a few basic prompts and bam, it built a whole working website from scratch. These are those magic moments that have people so excited. But, and this is a big but, that's only half the story. Because for every one of those amazing success stories, you hear another story that's, well, a total nightmare. This is brand new tech, and it is far from perfect. Which leads to the big question, right? What happens when that smart intern, that brilliant AI, has a really, really bad day? And this right here, this is the massive gap between the promise and the reality that people are running into. The AI promises to get things done for you, but in reality, it can get stuck in a crazy loop, going nowhere. It promises to save you money, but it can end up just burning through your credits on tasks that fail. So, when you look at all the complaints, they really boil down to a few key things. First up, and this is a big one, is the credit train. People are spending $100 or more, and the task just fails. Then there's the fact that there's basically zero customer support. The system itself is unstable, crashing all the time. And even when it works, the final product can be full of mistakes. Some people can't even get their subscriptions canceled. It's a mess. And this one quote from a user it perfectly sums up how frustrating this can be financially. Can you imagine? You pay over $100 for the AI to get all this work done, and you wake up the next day to find it's all just gone? And maybe the worst part, when things go wrong, you are absolutely on your own. I mean, listen to this. One user sent over 10 messages, sent a bunch of emails begging for help, and never once heard back from a human being. That is a huge problem when it's your money on the line. Okay, so we've seen the good, and we've definitely seen the bad. How does Manus actually stack up against other options out there? Because it's not the only game in town. All right, this table kind of breaks it down for us. You've got Manus AI. It's awesome if you want that bleeding-edge, super autonomous tech, but you gotta be ready for bugs and no support. Then you have OpenAI's tool, which is more reliable and has support, but it costs a lot more and isn't quite as independent. For all you developers, there are even free open source options if you know how to set them up. And of course, if you use Microsoft 365, Copilot is already there, it's just a bit less powerful. So, let's pull all of this together. The big question is, after hearing all of this, is a tool like this actually right for you right now? Look, right now, these tools are really for a specific kind of person. If you're someone who just loves tinkering with the latest, greatest tech, if you're comfortable figuring things out, and this is important, if you don't get frustrated easily by bugs, then yeah, go for it. It could be a fun experiment. But who should probably stay away for now? Well, if you need something that just works, something reliable for a real project with a deadline, you should wait.
If you're on a tight budget and can't afford to literally burn money on failed tasks, you should definitely wait. The technology just isn't there yet for mission-critical stuff. Now, if you're still thinking, you know what, I want to try this, that's cool. But please be smart about it. Here are 4 simple ways to do it safely. 1. Start with really small, simple projects. 2. Watch your credit usage like a hawk. 3. Always have a backup plan. And 4. Find other users on places like Reddit or Discord. They can be a lifesaver.
So it all comes back to that one final question. It really is like hiring that brilliant intern. One day, they could come up with a genius idea that changes your business, but the next day, they might just completely crash the system. So the question is, are you ready for that kind of a ride? Thanks for joining us on Best AI Apps Review Channel. Until next time, keep exploring the future with AI.